Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is me, 8744, and today, guys, I'm going to give you guys my December recap, guys. So we're going to be discussing about the top European leagues, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and discuss about it, guys. So I want to know your guys' thoughts at each of the leagues. Let me know in the comments below, guys. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with the first league we got here. It is the English Premier League. So Liverpool, fantastic month. Now you could say that Liverpool didn't have the best month by dropping points to obviously Fulham and obviously Newcastle, but Liverpool have been fantastic. They still destroyed Manchester City. They still destroyed Tottenham. And what makes this Liverpool team so scary is the amount of depth that Liverpool have. Like even without Konate, they could still rely on Joe Gomez. Kwanzaa is still there, and Liverpool are still fantastic. And obviously, Salah's been amazing. He's having an amazing season so far. He's probably the best player in the world right now. Other players are stepping up though in the attack. Luis Diaz is stepping up. I'm looking at Cody Gakpo as well, Jota as well stepping up. I think the only one in the attack that's been a bit underwhelming is probably Darwin Núñez. But other than him, I mean, Liverpool look pretty fantastic. Gravenberch is looking amazing. He's revitalized him for him this season. Van Dijk's been fantastic. I think the two weaknesses Liverpool have are Robertson and Núñez. I think everyone else though has been fantastic, and I think for Liverpool, they are the favorites to win this Premier League, and they put themselves in a very good position right now. And I would be surprised if they It's going to be interesting to see how Liverpool does in the second half of the season because I really do think it is their title to lose. Arsenal, man, for me, this is the team to stop Liverpool. If there's any team to stop Liverpool from winning this league, it's Arsenal. Because for me, other than Arsenal, I don't really see anyone else. And my thing with Arsenal is that looking great. But the thing for Arsenal is that they dropped points this month. They didn't have, even though they went unbeaten this month, they still dropped points to Everton and Fulham. That Everton game at home was especially particularly bad because you were at home for that game. See, the Fulham game, I'll give somewhat of a pass because you were away, but the Everton game is inexcusable. And I think for Arsenal, what they're really missing is a true world class striker. Because for me, Gabriel Jesus and Havertz aren't it. Now, I know Gabriel Jesus has been in good form recently. I know he scored against Brentford. I know he scored against Crystal Palace as well. He had a good game there. I still don't trust Gabriel Jesus for the course of a season. I think he's just a purple patch player. I think he'll give you some moments here or there, but I don't think he'll be consistent throughout an entire season. And I think for Arsenal, what's going to also be telling is that Saka's out. Saka's out for like 4 weeks. That's going to be a huge blow for Arsenal. He's one of their most best players. So it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal fare without Saka. And yeah, like I said, for Arsenal, they're the second best team in the Premier League. And I would say, if there's any team to stop Liverpool, it is them. Chelsea, man. Not been a great month for Chelsea. 3 games in a row which they failed to win. Obviously, they tied to Everton away, which isn't a bad result to be fair, but it's not that great. After defeating Spurs 4-3, you would think that okay they would follow it up there. Actually, to be fair, they did beat Brentford. I think the week after the Spurs game. And then obviously they lost to Fulham at home. That loss to Fulham at home at Boxing Day was particularly bad, especially from a winning position and from Fulham to win it in that kind of position late on, especially at home, unacceptable. And then they just lost to Ipswich Town. With all due respect, Ipswich Town. But here's the thing for Chelsea. I think Chelsea are overachieving this season so far. Because many of us didn't even have Chelsea to even get top four. A lot of people said, oh, Chelsea, not really too sure. And a lot of people were very surprised that Enzo Maresca was given the appointment because obviously we were surprised to see that Pochettino got sacked. And you could say criticize Poch all you will. At least Poch got them European football. I mean, sure, it's Conference League. I know Conference League isn't really that particularly great for Chelsea, but it is an upgrade for whatever happened 2 seasons ago when they finished 12th. They brought in Enzo Maresca, and now Chelsea are looking fantastic. They're looking good. I think they put themselves in a top four position. And I think for Chelsea, the realistic ambition for them this season should just be top four. Were they ever in consideration for the title? No, I think title is a bit too soon. I don't think they have what it takes to win a title because their players are too young, and I think they're a bit too inexperienced. That being said, though, I think Chelsea are looking fantastic. I think Cole Palmer's looking great. Enzo Fernandez looking fantastic. I think you have to give a shout out to Gusto. Gusto has been great. Obviously, shout out to um, those players, Nico Jackson as well, who's been firing up. But I just think for Chelsea, it's a reality check for them this month. I think this was a reality check for them because they were in a really good momentum. At one point, I believe they were second in the Premier League. So I just think for Chelsea, the realistic ambition for them should be just to get top four. Manchester City, man. It's been a rough month for Manchester City, man. It's been a rough month. They've taken a lot of L's. a lot of L's recently. Obviously losing to Manchester United, the derby, then obviously losing to Aston Villa, failing to beat Everton, then obviously lose, etc. And I just think for Manchester City, it's not been great. It's been a really poor run of form, but they did pick up a win just before the new year, and I think that win is going to galvanize things. I think Manchester City can now finally breathe with Holland scoring the scores, Sabio as well. And I think for what Manchester City needs to do is they have to go to a counter-attacking style. I think this possession based isn't really working anymore, and I think Pep has to realize that we can't play a possession based as we normally do because we don't have a DM. Right now, we just have to play counter attack and long ball, and I think that's what Manchester City should be doing, and I think that's the best for them. Now, do I think they could still get top four? Absolutely. I think top four is definitely up for grabs. Can they win the league? No. I think they're way too far behind to win the league. I think if they really want to win the league from this position, they have to go massive in the January window. They have to sell a lot of their deadweight players in the January window, which I just don't think it's realistic. I think for them to sell their deadweight players, they're gonna have to wait until the summer to do so, and I just don't see them doing it in January. I just think that it's just not enough time, you know. And so I think for Manchester City, for me this season, just get top four. Because if you don't get top four, I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. We're gonna have an emergency stream if that happens. I'm sorry. With all the spending power you have, to not get top four is an embarrassment. It is a disgrace. You have to get top four. There is no excuses. And yeah, we'll see Manchester City get top four, guys. Because if they don't get top four, we're gonna have an emergency stream. And Pep Guardiola, man, you may have to resign if that happens. Nottingham Forest, fantastic for them, man. They're in the Champions League position, guys. Because at the start of the season, many of us said, "Oh, Nottingham Forest will probably go down. It's probably a relegation pick." The fact that they're actually in the Champions League position as things stand is incredible. It's an absolute sensational achievement. And you have to give credit to Nuno Espirito Santos for what he's been able to achieve with this team. He's managed to make Chris Wood into a fantastic striker, probably the best striker in the Premier League, which is crazy. And also shout out to Milinkovic. Milinkovic, that guy has been fantastic at center back. What a signing from Fiorentina. Been fantastic. Now, can Nottingham Forest actually qualify for the Champions League? I don't think they can. I think they're going to fall short, but I think they can get Europa League. I think Europa League and Conference League is still a great achievement, and I think any form of European football should be considered a success. Okay, obviously Champions League will be a bit of a disappointment, but at the end of the day, realistically speaking, for them to get European football ahead of the likes of Manchester United, Spurs, Aston Villa potentially, and etc., is still an incredible achievement. So we'll see if Nottingham Forest can do it then season because I'm rooting for them, man. Rooting for them. Manchester United. What a disastrous month it's been. It's been bad. It's been horrendous for Manchester United, and it's been shockingly bad. And this whole thing has been a mess this season. And for me, Man United made the biggest mistake in not sacking Ten Hag earlier. Ten Hag should have been sacked during the summer. He shouldn't have kept his job after the FA Cup. Because remember, guys, United have sacked managers after winning the FA Cup. Remember, they sacked Louis Van Gaal after he won the FA Cup. I know it was against Crystal Palace, but still, I know it's against Manchester City, it's your fierce rivals, but you have to take into consideration the season as a whole. The season was disastrous. And I just think that Manchester United letting him stay was the most idiotic decision ever. Because now you're seeing the players take a benefit of that, advantage of that. And I just feel like United can avoid this whole situation by avoiding sacking Ten Hag in the summer, bringing Ruud van Nistelrooy in. Sorry, actually bringing Ruben Amorim in the summer. He would have had preseason. He would have been given time to get his players, and United could be so much better now. Instead, this season almost feels like a write-off because United are currently 14th in the Premier League is embarrassing. They lost to Newcastle. They lost to Bournemouth. Losing to Nottingham Forest. I mean, this is three games in a row they're losing. This is embarrassing. And as a team of United stature shouldn't be losing this amount of games. And let's be real, guys. United should give Ruud van Nistelrooy the permanent job. Because Ruud van Nistelrooy actually did a good job with Manchester United. I think they tied again. They beat Everton. And I think they beat Leicester City as well. And I just think that for me, for Manchester United, man, bringing in Amorim was not the right decision. Now, obviously, you can blame Amorim all you want, but at the end of the day, you can't really blame Amorim because at the end of the day, he's just come into a complete mess and he has to work with what he's given, and he's basically scraps. I mean, this Manchester United team is awful, guys. So many players are looking bad this season that looked great last season. Dalot was fantastic last season. He's looking like a liability this season. Then obviously Lissandro Martinez, who was fantastic last season, is looking terrible this season. Then you have players like Casemiro, who's not been great this season, Ericsson, um, and yeah, just United just looks so bad this season. Even Kobe Maino's not been great this season. He's been a bit underwhelming. Now I'm not saying he's been bad, but he's not been that great. Onana had a good start this season, but it's now been looking bad. And yeah, United, man, they're just a mess, man. They're just a complete mess. The only two players that have been consistent for United so far this season have been Mazraoui and Amad Diallo. Those are only positives. Everyone else has been trash. And I think for United, what they have to realize is that the league is done. They're not getting top six to the league. If they want to get European football, they have to go all in for the Europa League. They have to go all in for the Europa League. And if they don't go all in for the Europa League, it's bust. It's bust. Because this season could be another season where they don't get European football, which would be an embarrassment for United's stature, guys. And remember, last season we thought was bad when they finished 8th place, guys. This season could go worse. They might even finish below 8th. Time will only tell, guys. Time will only tell. So look at the table right here, guys. Sorry about that, guys. We got Liverpool here with 45 points, Arsenal with 39 points, Nottingham Forest with 37, Chelsea with 35. So remember, guys, Liverpool do have a game in hand. So Liverpool win their game in hand. They can make the gap into 48. So they can have a 9-point gap. I would say the top four is almost settled. I would probably put Manchester City in fourth place. And then I would say Newcastle probably could get fifth. Isak's looking great. And I'd probably say Nottingham Forest can get sixth. And then I'll probably give it a Aston Villa seventh. I don't trust Spurs. I think Spurs is way too inconsistent. And I think Brighton will fall off. I think Fulham will fall off as well. And I think Bournemouth will fall off. So, but guys, it'll be interesting to see which teams get that Europa League spots and Conference League spots. That should be very interesting to see what happens there. Moving over to La Liga, guys. La Liga, guys. Atletico Madrid, man. It's now 12 games in a row now they've won. This is the best form Atletico Madrid have been in a long time. We haven't seen Atletico Madrid pick up this amount of wins consecutively in a long time. And I think that win they got in Barcelona was fantastic. Now, say what you will, the win wasn't that pretty and all. At the end of the day, it's about winning at all cost. And they got the win, and that's an important thing. And that's the first time Diego Simeone has defeated Athletic Barcelona at Barcelona Stadium for the first time in his career. So you have to give it up to them. And remember, guys, Atletico Madrid have scored a lot of late goals this season. With Sola scoring, I think 15 points for Atletico Madrid from losing positions. I mean, that's crazy, guys. That's absolutely insanity right there. And they're showing what Leverkusen did last season, guys, with the amount of late goals they've been scoring. Are the next Leverkusen? We'll just have to wait and see, guys. But yeah, Atletico Madrid, man, fantastic to see, and only one loss so far in La Liga this season, guys, which was to Real Betis. And yeah, that's the last time they tasted defeat, guys. And since then, it's been a winning streak since then, man. So you got to give it up to Simeone. And I think this team can potentially win La Liga because their bench is looking very strong, guys. For Real Madrid, guys, I think it's now been good. I think Real Madrid have kind of steadied the ship. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, they had a rocky start to the season by dropping points to, Las Palmas and Mallorca. But I think now they picked up some form. And obviously, the only little blemish they have was 2 games which they didn't win. Obviously, they didn't win against Rayo Vallecano. They tied the game 3-all in a pretty back and forth game. And then obviously they lost to Bilbao. They lost to Bilbao 2-1. My thing for Real Madrid is that I think they tell them Mbappe is starting to slowly get into form. And I think what's going to really determine Real Madrid's fate this season is Mbappe himself. If Mbappe turns up the Mbappe that we expect from the summer and being one of the best players in the world, then he'll probably guide Real Madrid to win a league and potentially even a Champions League. But if Mbappe is still very inconsistent, not finding his groove, it opens the door for Atletico Madrid and Barca. Because the thing is, Vini is all good and all, and I still stand by that Vini is Real Madrid's best player. But Vini needs support. He can't do it all on his own. And I think if Mbappe is firing, that makes it great for Real Madrid. And I just think Mbappe and Vini is what's gonna carry Real Madrid this season. And obviously Jude Bellingham as well, who's also improved his form. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Real Madrid do, guys. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens because I think Real Madrid is slowly starting to get into the group of these things. They're only 3 points behind Atletico Madrid. So no, actually, sorry, they're 1 point behind Atletico Madrid. So yeah. Barcelona, man, we've been a horrendous month for us. That's now three losses in a row for us at home, losing to Las Palmas and then losing to Elche. So not Elche, Leganes, and then obviously losing to Atletico Madrid. And you know what the weird thing is, guys? We've actually played well in those three games. We just haven't been clinical. We just haven't been taking our chances. And that's the weird thing with Barca is that we just haven't been taking our chances in front of goal. Because if we had been taking our chances, oh, we would have been like 9 points. It's just that we haven't. And some players have to be criticized for the drop off of form. I'm looking at you, Robert Lewandowski. I know you've been fantastic for us at the beginning of the season. You were probably one of the best strikers in the world. But now you've been taking a toll. You have not been great recently. You just haven't. And the same goes for Danny Olmo. And we all know Danny Olmo's an injury prone player. And there's actually rumors going around, guys, that Danny Olmo may not be registered, guys. I'm going to wait until official confirmation before I make a video. But just know, guys, that there is a potential possibility that Danny Olmo may not be present for Barca in the second half of the season. We may have to let him go on a free. And Lamine Yamal, he's not been fully fit. He's missed some of the games post El Clasico. And I just think for me, for Barca, it's really sad that we're relying on a 17-year-old. And I know he's been amazing. He's probably one of the best players in the world. But to rely on a 17-year-old week in, week out is embarrassing for a club of this magnitude. It is embarrassing. It shouldn't be happening. And the only player that's been really consistent for us for this entire season so far in the attack has been Rafinha. Rafinha has been amazing. I mean, the guy's got like 14 goals, I believe, this season. I mean, he's been easily one of our best attackers this season. I think him and Yamal have probably been our best too. And I think for Barca, we have to figure out how do we have to figure out something with that attack because we really don't have a great left winger in this team, guys. We are really desperately lacking the left winger position. And the striker position is also a bit of a concern too. So Lewandowski, you have to improve the second half of the season whatsoever. I also feel like defensively you're looking a bit sketchy nowadays after El Clasico with the offside trap. Kunis had some mistakes here and there, and Kobarsi's made some mistakes too. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens to Barca, guys, and I'm really hoping that Barca can improve their form in the second half of the season. And I have a sneaky feeling, guys, that the Supercopa is gonna decide Barca's fate. If we win the Supercopa, then we're probably gonna win the league. But if we lose the Supercopa, and especially in bad fashion, oh, it's over. I think the season could be very much trophyless. So I think it all hinges upon the Spanish Supercopa for the fate of Barca's season. So looking at the La Liga table, guys. So Atletico Madrid's on 41 points, Real Madrid's on 40 points, and Barca's on 38. And guys, Bilbao are only 2 points behind us, guys, with 36, and the 30, and the 30, and the 25. So I think we have a very fascinating battle for top four. Although I will say Bilbao are probably slight favorites. And I'll say probably Villarreal should get Europa League. I might edge with Sociedad to get sixth. And I might give the edge to Real Betis. I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but I feel like Mallorca and Girona may have a drop off the second half of the season. But we'll see. I would love to see Mallorca get European football. That'd be fantastic. And obviously, I would love to see Girona continue. But we will have to wait and see what happens. And obviously, Valencia in the relegation zone. It's looking peak, man, for Valencia, man. It's looking peak. And moving on to Serie A, guys. Atalanta, man. Fantastic. It is now 11 wins in a row, I believe, for Atalanta. I mean, that is amazing. This has probably been the best form I've seen of Atalanta in recent years. And what makes this Atalanta team so special is Adam Lukman. The guy's been easily their best player. He's probably the biggest superstar Atalanta have. I mean, this is a guy that scored a hat trick in the Europa League final. And for Gasperi, in particular there, can he win a league title with Atalanta? Because if he does, that would be an incredible achievement. Because obviously Atalanta have never won the league before in their history. And he is the longest Serbian manager in Serie A, guys, from the 2016 season, guys. So if he can guide Atalanta to a Europa League title and a Serie A title, that'll be an incredible achievement. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens, Atalanta, guys. I really hope they can win this, guys. And I think players like Charles de Ketelaere has also been firing well at Lukman as well. And they got a big win against AC Milan at home. And the last time they lost a game, guys, was to Como at home in September, guys. They've been undefeated since then, guys. Gotta give it up to Atalanta, man. Give it up to them. Napoli, man. It's been a good month for them. Besides a loss to Lazio at home, it's been a good month for them. They're picking up wins as you would expect them to. They're also scoring more than one goal, which I think is also great because I remember the November month they were scoring goals, but they're only scoring one goal. This time around, they're scoring multiple goals in a game, and I think that's great to see. Conte's adapting to this team, and I think that's things you love to see. My question for Napoli, though, is that can they win this league? Yes, they can. Because remember, they only have one game per week. Of the three Serie A teams that are competing for the title, they're the one that have the least amount of games. There's no European games for Napoli. And I feel like with Lukaku firing and with McTominay looking great, Kvaratskhelia as well, don't sleep on Napoli, guys. Napoli is a team that could very well win the league title. And especially if Inter mess up, I would say they're a team that could capitalize on Inter's mishaps. So shout out to Napoli, man. And for Inter, man, they're the best team in Italy. Sure, they may not be the best, most informed team in Italy, but they're the most dangerous team in Italy. I believe they have the strongest squad and they're the strongest firepower. And look what they did a few weeks ago. They went to Lazio. A Lazio team have been amazing so far this season, guys. I mean, this is a team that's in fourth right now in the league. Lazio were better than Inter, I would say, for 30 minutes. But once Inter starts the scoring, Inter scored six away. I mean, Lazio don't concede 6 goals at home, guys. This is incredible. And for what Inter is doing, it's been phenomenal to see. I think the only blemish Inter have had so far is Lautaro Martinez. I don't know what's up with Lautaro Martinez. The guy's form has been falling off. And I think if Inter really wants to win this league, Lautaro has to be firing all cylinders. Because if Lautaro doesn't fire, it could backfire. Sorry about that, guys. And I think for Inter, what's really key is that they're looking very good, guys. So it'll be interesting to see what Inzaghi can do with this Inter team. And yeah, guys, like I said, guys, I still think they're the favorites for the Serie A. But like I said, don't sleep on Napoli, and you can certainly not sleep on Atalanta. Juventus, man, it's another draw. I don't know what's up with Juventus, man. Because I'm sorry, we could criticize the Arsenal Invincibles all you will, but at least Arsenal Invincibles won the league with 12 draws. Juventus are already, I believe, on 12 draws this season. They've already matched um, Arsenal's record is crazy. And we're only halfway through the season. It's actually crazy. And sure, going undefeated is a great achievement. It's a very impressive achievement and whatsoever. But if you're gonna go unbeaten, you have to win the league. I'm sorry. If you don't win the league going unbeaten, then it means nothing. It means nothing. That's a harsh reality. And I think Juve fans are starting to realize that while Motta may be a good coach in the sense that he doesn't want to lose, they've given up points from a lot from winning positions, guys. And that's unacceptable. Because for Juventus, for me this season, their aim should be to get top four. Obviously, if they can compete for the title, that'd be nice. But the realistic aim for them for this season should be get top four. And given how Serie A has been very competitive, and I'll show you guys the league table in a bit, you'll be surprised to see where Juve are in the table. Because Juve may not even get Champions League while going undefeated. Like, that just sounds so messed up. And yeah, Juve, man, they have their moments in the game, but they're not consistent enough for 90 minutes, which is why they keep dropping points. Because their attack is good, guys. Their defense is good as well, but they have their lapses of concentration. And that's the key thing for Juventus, and they have to figure this out. Because not only is this going to hurt their title hopes, this may also hurt their top four hopes as well. Because for me, I think title's done. I don't think they have any chance to win the title, but that they can at least get top four. Milan, man. Been horrendous, man. They finally got rid of Pablo Fonseca, and that should have happened so much longer ago. And the fact that Milan have kept him in for this amount of time is ridiculous. And let's be real, Milan this season have been very underwhelming. And we have to criticize the Milan board. I mean, this is the same board that sacked Paolo Maldini, one of the greatest legends in their club. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. And they also got rid of Sandro Tonali, one of their best players. And they sent Kalulu on loan to Juventus. I mean, they're rivals for crying out loud. It's been a horrendous month for Milan. They're sitting 8th place in the table as we speak right now at the moment. And for a club this magnitude, Milan shouldn't be 8th. And if we're keeping it real, guys, only 2 players have been consistent for Milan this season. Actually, maybe 3 players, I would say. Mike Magnon, Reinders, and Pulisic. Everyone else has either been decent or bad. I mean, Emerson Royale? Why is Emerson Royale here? Leao's been underwhelming this season. Now, I'm not saying he's been bad, but he's not been as good as we expect him to be. And with Pulisic being injured, you're really seeing Milan really struggle because I'm sorry. Morata as your striker is criminal. It's a criminal offense. And Milan have to sort the defense. And I think with Sergio Conceição coming in, he can assure up that he can assure up that Milan defense, because obviously we know the pedigree he has from Porto. I mean, the guy has won a lot of league titles at Porto, and we've seen Porto in the Champions League. Defensively, they've been very good. So I'm hoping to see how Conceição can improve Milan defensively, because I think that's what Milan desperately need. They have to improve the defense at all cost. And guys, I'm sorry, Milan have to get Champions League. Oh, Roma, man, it's been rough. It's been a rough season for Roma. I mean, the fact they're mid-table after having an amazing transfer window is embarrassing. They shouldn't be in this position. And I just think for Milan, what's really worrying for me is that I don't see much. I don't see much hope for Roma here, because now they brought in. I believe they brought in Claudio Ranieri, and I'm sorry, with all due respect, he's not the same. This isn't Leicester 2016, bro. We're 2025 now. A lot has changed, and I think for Roma, they're starting to realize that maybe the European spots is a bit too far, and then they have to go all in for the Europa League, which is similar to Manchester United in a sense. So yeah, I just think for Roma, man, it's not been good for them this season. I think the only few positives have been Abdul Hamid, the right back they signed from, I believe, Al Nasser. Sorry, no, Al Hilal, I believe they signed from. It's been fantastic. But other than him, not really much else positives. Obviously, Joe Brick's not been great. Dybala's not been great. This whole Roma team made a mess, and I feel so bad for what Roma board have done to, obviously, De Rossi. I feel like De Rossi shouldn't have been sacked that prematurely, and now I think Roma's paying the price, because Roma board is also pretty stupid, I have to say. So, looking at the league table right here, guys, Atalanta is currently top right now with 41 points. Napoli is second place with 41. Inter have a game and a half, 40. So, if Inter win their game in hand, which is to Fiorentina away, they could go top. Lazio fourth, fifth, Fiorentina, sixth, Juventus, seventh, Bologna, eighth, Milan, and ninth, Udinese, and 10th, Roma, guys. We have a very intense Serie A table coming up, guys, and it's very difficult to call how it's going to finish out. So, if I had to give a prediction, I would probably say Atalanta, Napoli, Inter are probably locked in for top four. I'd probably edge with Juventus to get fourth, although I'm very reluctant to give them fourth. I'll probably say Lazio can get fifth, and I'll say Milan can get sixth, and I'll maybe give Lazio seventh. But like I said, guys, it's going to be very competitive, and a lot can change in the next coming months, so we'll have to wait and see. Bundesliga time, guys. Bayern Munich, man, fantastic for them, man. Fantastic for them. Now, I know they had their first L recently, too. Obviously, was it to Freiburg? No, sorry, it's to Mainz. Mainz. And Mainz has always been a tricky team for Bayern. Bayern sometimes drop points there. And, I think Mainz is a bogey team for Bayern. Sometimes Bayern struggles against them. And I think for Bayern, what they're looking great is that they just beat RB Leipzig 5-1, guys. And I think you have to give credit to Vincent Kompany and how he's been able to make Bayern's attack look amazing. Because that was one of the big criticisms Tuchel faced, and especially second half of the season, is that Bayern attacking wise weren't as great. And I think that's good to see, guys. It's really good to see what he's been able to achieve this season. And I think for Bayern, as I said, they have to win the league. They have to win the league at all cost. They have to win the league, because I think for Bayern not to win the league 2 seasons in a row would be embarrassing for a club of this magnitude. So we shall see. They do have a 4-point lead on Leverkusen. And speaking of Leverkusen, man, I think Leverkusen are back. Now, I don't think Leverkusen are as good as last season, but I do think Leverkusen are starting to show good form. And by smashing Freiburg, I believe it was, right before the Christmas break, was a great thing to see. And I think for Leverkusen, that 4-0 loss to Liverpool away might have been the best thing to happen to them, because I think now they've been serious since then, and it's good to see Leverkusen pick up their form. And yeah, they're only 4 points behind Bayern, but what worries me with the most with Leverkusen is at the start of the season, they had some draws, and I think that might come back and bite them. But yeah, I think for Leverkusen, man, been a great season so far, and only one loss so far in the Bundesliga is pretty commendable, man. Frankfurt, man, they didn't have a good window, guys. December month, I believe they dropped points to, I think was Augsburg, and I think they lost at home to Mainz, if not mistaken. I mean, it's been a rough month for Frankfurt, and obviously Frankfurt were amazing prior to the December month, but they dropped off. And yeah, it's a shame to see, guys. But I think for Frankfurt, if they can get Champions League, that's still a great achievement. But obviously, they were never really realistic contention for the title. The title race is basically between Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen. And for Dortmund, man, they finally get an away win, guys. Finally get an away win against Wolfsburg. They finally get an away win, 3-1 win, and Guirassy has been fantastic so far this season. Dortmund have not been great so far this season, but I think Guirassy has been one of the few positives for Dortmund this season, and I think that's very much worth noting. At Leipzig, man, not been great, that great. Obviously they got eliminated in the Champions League this month, but in terms of the league, they're doing pretty well, guys. The league title, they're doing well, but Europe-wise, not been great, and they got a big win against Frankfurt at home, guys. Big win. So looking at the league table right here, guys. So Bayern Munich is top with 36 points. Leverkusen is 32. Frankfurt is 27. Leipzig 27. And Mainz 25. And Dortmund is 25. So we have a very interesting top four upon us, guys. So I would say if I had to make a prediction, guys, I think Bayern Munich should, Bayern Munich, Bayern Leverkusen should get top four. I would say Frankfurt as well, probably. And guys, I think it's gonna be one of Leipzig or Dortmund. I'm gonna say as of now, I'm giving the edge to Dortmund, and then maybe Leipzig fifth, and then I'll maybe give sixth to Mainz. As seventh, I might give it to Gladbach. Maybe, I don't know. It's gonna be tough, guys. Just say. Now we're gonna quickly scroll up on the other leagues real quick. I'll just give you guys my quick thoughts, but I won't go too much into detail here, guys. Obviously, we have a very fascinating three-horse race right here at Portugal Liga, guys. We have a very fascinating one, guys, and we just had a big game take place a few days ago, guys, where Sporting actually defeated Benfica at home. A critical win for Sporting. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this League of Portugal, because obviously with Ruben Amorim leaving, it's opened the title race to a three-horse race. Because had Amorim not left, it probably would have been Sporting that would easily have won this league. And what's going to be very interesting, guys, keep an eye on this one, guys, is Gokaris's future. If Gokaris decides to leave at the January window, oh, it makes it very difficult for Sport, because I think Sporting is done. Because he's one of their best players, one of the most clinical players. Departure like that would really hurt the team. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm going to still stick with my Benfica pick beginning of the season. But like I said, this is a very fascinating three-horse race, and any of these three teams could win it. And it will be interesting to see what happens. And then just touching upon the other three leagues real quick. PSG, PSV, Galatasaray. All three of these teams are in a comfortable position, and they should win their respective leagues. So there you have it, guys. That's my league recap for you guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this one, guys. Let me know if there's any major talking points that comes below, guys. Remember, guys, like and subscribe, and peace out.